welcome to our annual meeting. I would like to just do a big pause here for 1 second before we start. On behalf of the U.S. Board and members, we would like to give a big amount of gratitude and thanks to Mary Bahar. She's been awesome organizing speakers, arranging our location for the annual conference, solving all sorts of questions like insurance, agenda, and sleeping bags. She has been 100% available to answer questions and host us in this beautiful state of North Carolina with patience and with grace. So thank you, Mary. Please give her another big hand. Thank you, Mary. All right, so I would like to call our meeting to order, I guess I should say. So my name is Paige LaCombe, and I'm the current vice chair. I would like to introduce a wonderful guiding light and influence for us at the U.S. Servas. Currently, the National Secretary of the United States, Servas, and the chair of the board. We are so grateful to have Marguerite Hills here with us. Hello, Marguerite. Yay. We are so grateful for her efforts to spearhead our U.S. teams and committees of volunteers, awesome volunteers. She has been a big proponent of supporting the U.S. youth and of our new U.S. Servas website. Yay! So I'd like to introduce you to Marguerite Hills now. Thank you.
Paige, for the kind words. Can everybody hear me? Such a pleasure. First time ever for us Servas being able to have a conference and yet include people nationwide in not only our annual meeting, but different sessions. Thank you to all who've made that happen. This is a historical moment for Servas. And first, I want to start off by saying Servas has been about all of you. It's been about a bunch of passionate people who have stepped up and volunteered in some way to be able to get us through what I will call a really big year. It's been a year of transition. And as all of you know, this has been kind of a, tumultuous seas. We went from having an office, having staff, having a website that most people didn't like, and a lot of different things that really needed change because of a huge event, a pandemic. Also because of funding. We had some very serious challenges, had to make some tough decisions, and having to let go of both an office, staff, and all that went with that has meant a lot of change for Servas. So first of all, I just want to welcome you to kind of a new phase for Servas. And first of all, thank everyone for their patience. Thanks for hanging in there with Servas. Thanks for your passion about Servas. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for kind of checking in and spending the time, your time, to get to know the new ways that we're doing things. And as I mentioned, it's been all about our volunteers. And I'm gonna tell you, we have some real superheroes in the bunch. And you know who you are. You know if you're one of our Servas heroes, because over the last year, in some ways, you've been able to help us navigate the tumultuous seas and helped us in some really great announcements that we have now. The biggest being we have a new website. How many of you have been on the new website, usservas.org? If you haven't I do believe you are going to be very, very happy and impressed. And we are kind of in still of, fix it, fine tune phase, but we expect in the next months as we, kind of get to know the site, that we're going to be so pleased, because here's the other new thing. We not only have one website, we have two. And I think that our members are going to be really, really liking this new system, but here it is. We have a new US website, but the US website is very simple. All you do is join, pay, and become a member if you're renewing or joining. But it also will tell you all the current stuff, like what's happening events-wise, calendar, who's the board, who are committees, how can you help us? That's all on the US website, but guess what? The limelight is on our international website. It basically, servas.org is your one place where you can find hosts worldwide. You can find, say you have a traveler that has asked to come to your house. You can look them up on servas.org. Each member and only members have access to servas.org. Very secure, very lot of thought and has gone in to make sure our servas.org and our US website is very private and very much limited to you, our members. And so I just want to say, in summary, Servas is all about you. It's about our community of people that make Servas what it is. We have a super rich history. And as I look around the screen and I see so many people that have made Servas the absolute wonderful organization it is, and also to thank everyone for patience as we move into new ways of doing things. Technology has lots to offer, but believe me, I experience every day the challenges of some of the technology, but we have some of our heroes that are super adept and are willing to help you. We have folks, many people that have stepped up. We're only a phone call away, we're only an email away, and nobody should have any trouble renewing, joining, spreading the word of what your Servas richness has been, and to be able to share that and bring more people into Servas so that we can continue the great organization that Servas has always been. So thanks that was just kind of like brief introduction, as well as an invitation that we have a lot of work groups that are making things happen. We're doing everything that the office and staff used to do. And we've joined the rest of the world in being an all volunteer organization. And so it takes all of us. So if you find a way you can help, please, please do. Our new website, not right now, it's not set to be able to give you all the options for volunteering, but it will in a couple weeks. All righty, so I'm going to pass the torch. Joanne, I'm going to introduce our secretary. Paige, wonderfully, is also, she's actually in North Carolina. And Paige started our annual meeting. And I'm trying to see, could anybody else that's a board member that I can't happen to see right here on my screen, could you kind of wave your hand so that everybody can meet at least, I'm introducing the current board, and I see our new board members, which I'm going to introduce in just a second. Okay, is Leena on?
Yep.
Where are you, Leena?
Can you speak into your mic?
Yeah, no, I'm here. At
Hey,
the
Leena's
conference.
there, yeah, in person. Thank you.
Right.
So
This
actually,
is Leena
Leena
right
and Paige
here.
are both in North Carolina. Fantastic. And is Arnie on the call? Is any other board member on the call? Okay. I know we have a plan to introduce our new board members, but could you guys wave Richard and Shyla, and I'm hoping we have Bahram also. We're really looking forward to it. This meeting pretty much launches our new board, which we're back up to 9, which we're really pleased about. And so if any of you kind of wonder anything, our website also has introductions to all of us as well. Joanne, any words by way of, we're keeping track of all the folks and all the voters, right, that are here as part of the conference.
Well, I'm taking the minutes.
That's my job. I got it, Mark.
So yeah, Shyla, thank you.
And Shauna's got us covered. New board member jumped in, both feet. Yeah, and one of the first kinds of business items that we always do as part of our annual meeting is looking at our financial reports. How many of you have had a chance to take a gander and look at the financial report?
We have a group of people here that have seen it. I see about 10 hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if you've seen the financial, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay.
We have
Some of us virtually have raised our hands too. It did get emailed out to the virtual people registered, so people had the opportunity. But I know we don't always get things open, but it definitely went out.
Well,
So I know
Go
we
ahead.
emailed everyone, I believe, a financial copy, but there is 5 here that are being passed around. But maybe people, oh, here's one right here. If you have not seen it, just raise your hand and we'll deliver it over. Okay, no takers, I think.
Yeah, well, I will say we really wish Rada could have joined us. He is a professor at Columbia and is teaching a class right now. So, but I want to be able to introduce the fact that we have been so fortunate to have Rada on our board. And he's a professional, and has really helped us with a lot of our financial records. And I hope all of you have a chance to look through, because there's been big changes.
Give you a little more light.
Pardon? Yeah,
I just
we
wanted to give
basically have a really thorough financial report. We've got all of our records in, all of our tax accounts done. Everything is really up to snuff as far as our financial well-being with Servas. And I'm so grateful to Rada and all of the Steve Cantors and all of those who have helped us get to where we are with our financial with financial stability and financial reporting. I'd love to say I could answer questions, but I can't. But one of our jobs with the annual meeting is to approve the financial
So
report.
if somebody has a question, how are they to get? We do have some questions.
Yes.
In that, so
If anybody has any questions whatsoever, send it to info@usservas.org. And Rada will get back with you.
okay. Thank you, Tracy. Yep.
Yes, we welcome any questions, because one thing Servas is transparent, and we welcome any questions, challenges, you name it. Yeah.
We do have one question here.
Wait. What we're voting on is merely to accept the fact that we have been presented with the annual report. We're not actually approving the content of it, merely that we have fulfilled our legal obligation to support.
Thank you, Phyllis. Phyllis, what would we do without you? Phyllis knows our bylaws and she keeps us on track. Thank you, Phyllis. Yeah, it's true.
Could you repeat that? Because she cut in and out. I didn't hear everything she said.
Phyllis, can you repeat?
Well, she doesn't have the mic now, so.
The question was, actually, I'll have you, we're accepting receipt of the treasurer's report today. Is that correct?
Not approving the full numbers. Okay, Tracy, who a former office worker and is familiar with this. She nodded her head yes. So we have 2 confirmations. So what we're doing is we are voting that we have received the report from Radha, that we are accepting that we've received it, but questions can still come in because we're not necessarily approving the content of it. Great.
Okay, so do we basically take a vote right now? Do we even need our members to vote, yes, they've received it?
I think we have a few questions, so hold on one second.
For those of you that are here or in the audience, US Servas is a nonprofit business. And you are the members of the business. If at any time you have questions about the business aspect that you are being asked to approve receiving, then you should raise them at any time you feel you want to. I have sat on Servas finances since 2004, including helping to run the office, including overseeing who's going to do the taxes. And there are a federal tax return, and in learning about what a balance sheet means. These are business aspects which a lot of people, when they're presented with them, basically say, it's fine, or I don't understand, so I'm not going to ask questions. And I'm inviting you to talk to anybody involved in the finances, and I can tell you their names and the names of the subcommittees and meeting and main committee. Radha is stepping down from his role as treasurer. So we will need a treasurer. US Servas officially needs a treasurer who is an active person involved in the finances. So that's all I want to make sure you who are here and attending this meeting understand.
Great. And can we find out who just spoke? Because those of us on virtual can't see and we didn't get a name.
This is Daryl Ni Chin.
Oh, great, Daryl. Thank you, Daryl.
Thank you, Daryl.
I will say, Tracy from Humboldt has her hand up.
I just have a question actually that Daryl could probably answer if he's still on the investments committee. Can I ask him now?
Not a problem.
Okay. Daryl, I'm just curious, does the investment committee still try and hold to values that are compatible with the Servas mission, like no investment in weapons industry, fossil fuels, that kind of thing? I think you had a statement several years ago. Obviously, I'm harking back to the old days, but I thought that was really great at the time and wondered if that's still something that you hold as a guidelines for investments.
The guiding policy of US Servas investments is a socially conscious investment portfolio. That's the guiding thing. However, it's not necessarily always true. That's all I can say. Predominantly, yes. And if you have questions about it, I can actually show you the portfolio, anybody, to look at it to see what it holds, which is primarily mutual funds.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Point out that Radha did have an independent person look at the financials. And so it wasn't just him on the treasury. Do we have the name of the person? But she came back and said it looked correct, the numbers. He was gonna, the board, does anyone on the board have the name? Because he was going to ask us to acknowledge her. And I think this would be a good time before we vote to say that it was independently looked at.
Are you asking for a motion?
Sanaith,
The name.
Sanaith is the name I got, Sainath.
Okay. So Nath,
And
so
a huge thank you to Rada, Sanath, and all the others who have really formed not only the finance committee, but have been really working hard to get everything up to date.
okay, if you have a question virtually, anyone else, go ahead and pop that in the chat and I'll call on you. Otherwise, I think I'll give it a second, but I think we're wrapped up here virtually. Yep, no one's typing chat question in the chat, so the virtual attendants are.
We just have one more question for sure here.
Well, I'm going through this and I just don't know what this dues to Servas International, which is $18,000, which is that going to be repeated every year and where will we
Yes.
get it?
Yeah, this comes from our international stamps, e-stamps, so that when you get your LOI, you have an official Servas. Okay, Phyllis says no. She's going to answer that question.
In the past, the amount we owed to Servas International depended on how many letters of introduction we issued. The new procedure is that there is a complex formula how much each country owns that depends on the number of memberships, on the relative wealth of the country, past history, and a bunch of other things. And it's still going to be around $18,000 a year that we owe toward the support of Servas International.
And just so that everybody knows, with the new membership at $33 per year, you can be a host, a traveler, a day host, all of the above, one of the above, or none of the above, all for $33 per year. And we're really looking forward to everybody being not only members this year, but continuing as supportive members and staying in the Servas community instead of the past kind of record of people coming and going. And we'll have a lot more stability by way of our membership. So thanks to everybody for renewing and staying with the community of Servas. Thanks. But anyway, that's a financial question that was a really good one about the international fees. It's pretty much what Rada said we expect to pay 18 to 20,000 every year. And everybody knows that Servas International is keeping up a very, very useful and user-friendly website. And they have, technology expenses, other expenses. And so we, as one of the wealthier countries, are definitely expecting about that as our annual bill.
So Marguerite, I just want to clarify, because I was at the Sakoga where that vote happened, it's just frozen for 3 years. And at the next Sakoga, they're going to vote again on what to do. So we really only have one more year for sure at that frozen fee, that frozen amount on the financials. So it might change after 2022, just letting you know. And the money, yes, so out of the fees that we pay. Membership fees, yes.
Yeah, and I know it's in the things Rada sent, but the really good news is our annual budget is really finally getting into a sustainable level. We not only have that for our international dues, we also have insurance, excuse me, and some other basic expenses that come with, especially some of our memberships and some of the technology like the new website, annual bills, all these different things. So we do have ongoing expenses, but we kind of figure it's going to be 50,000 or less per year. So that's sustainable. Good news.
Paige, can you be sure to repeat any question that gets asked, because we couldn't hear that last one? And then we do have another question virtually. We have one from Sharon, and I've unmuted her.
Hi, yeah. It's not exactly on financial, but on the website in general. You mentioned before that it's for the members only and it's very secure. I haven't checked it lately, but is there a password protected section for members only? Because how do potential members learn about Servas if it's for members only? Is it accessible on how to join, what its mission is and everything?
Can I pass that question on to Jim? Jim, would you handle that one as our technology committee lead? I know Dan and David are there at the conference and could probably help answer, but I don't see you at the moment, and I do see Jim.
Yeah, certain, excuse me. There definitely is the main portion of both websites, the international and US, are public. And that's, like you said, where people do learn. And there's lots of information about US Servas on the US Servas site. And then really the only stuff that there is a small amount, which is you sign in and then you see the stuff that's relevant for members. And so like
Okay.
Marguerite said, we were very careful. We're using, the security is quite good on this stuff, and we really don't have any concerns about that.
You want me to add anything to that, Marguerite, about the security, or do you have another question with
Yeah,
that,
Jim,
Sharon?
go ahead, because I think it's something people really care about. And we want people to really understand that as we, depend so much on technology, we want everybody to feel very comfortable because there's a lot of personal information that we're sharing. So yes, if you could, Dan, thank you. Dan is our really ace volunteer that's helping us with, I'll just say, lots of technological issues and challenges, both with the new website and across the board. Thank you.
Yes, so to go back to Sharon's question, is that some information should not be public. For example, you as a host, your phone number and all of the information you put in your host list, that's private information. That shouldn't be public. That needs to be behind the members only area. So on the other hand, we have the public side of the website, which is for new members and members. Anybody can go out and look and see what is US Service about, what is the calendar. There's public information, a lot of public information, but we do keep behind the members only area stuff that's only for members. So when you go to the international site, of course, you have to be a member to see hosts around the world. But you can still go out and find out all sorts of information about countries all over, different countries, where their websites are. There's a lot of public information. But to go back to your question, Sharon, is that, of course, anything that's members only has to be behind it for security reasons. We don't want public or personal details that we've already provided for Servas. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we got it. Thank you, Dan.
Dave, do you want to say anything? Okay. All right. I think we are satisfied on this end. Is there any other hands up? Nope. We're good on this end. Any on your end?
Nothing on chat and nothing here. So yes.
Cool. So do we vote?
Need a motion?
Okay. So so Phyllis said, I vote we accept. I move we accept the treasurer's report, the financial report. Yes. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Marguerite, did you say that?
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Marguerite seconds. So can all in favor? We have 13 hands raised on this side.
14.
Oh, 14, I'm sorry.
No, that was on next.
And on the screen we have, Leena's here helping me. Leena.
We have 15 on the screen, and I know who's voted eligible and not. So yeah, we got it.
Okay, 15, thank you. Any opposed? Okay, we have 0 on this side.
We have 0 on this side.
Excellent.
And abstain.
Oh, any abstain? No, 0 on this side?
0 on this side.
Thank you, thank you.
Good job.
Okay, well.
I think at this point, Paige, I think
yes.
to just welcome and kind of introduce our newest board members, and welcome them into the fray.
Okay, I'm going to turn on the mic and I hope you can hear me online too. So I would like to introduce our 2021 Board of Directors. We have Marguerite Hills. We have me, Paige LaCombe. I'm just going down the row here. Radha Krishna. We have Joanne Ferguson Kavanaugh. Apologies if I don't. And we have Leena Desai. We have Arnie Roland. We have new directors, Shyla Escobar. I'm sorry if okay, let me keep going. Richard Weaver and Bahram Zandi. And that is our current and future board 2020, 2021. Thank you. Shyla Bear.
Yeah, this is the official, start on with the new board. And all of us, I think together, would like to let you know we can't do it ourselves. We can't be an all volunteer organization without you. And so that's why I'm really asking everybody that just does care about Servas and its future to kind of just give a little thought as to how you might be interested in contributing to Servas. And we'll be asking you that quite a bit over the next 6 months. So on the website, email, open doors, between doors, all those things. Any other comments, questions, things we might also want to make sure we talk about? Paige, do you have any questions coming from the group?
One here.
Well, I'll just ask a question, Marguerite. Where do you think, where are we going in the next year? What's the exciting things for us coming up? What do you see? Because we've just launched the website. We've got all sorts of new changes going through. What's the fun stuff going?
That is a great question, Dan, because frankly, we've had challenges over the last year that's just kind of like, let's stabilize this operation. Let's make sure, we're sustainable into the future. Let's make sure we don't go, the way of so many nonprofits these days, and especially, that Servas has such deep roots. Let's make sure we're strong. What it comes down to is we have, with our new technology, a real challenge to make sure all of our members and future members feel comfortable with jumping in and getting on the new technology. The website, both international and national, as well as our new communication tools, which thanks to Dan, he's really helped us with kind of like ways to be able to communicate it within work groups, within committees, within a board, all those kinds of things. So those are all new and challenging. There's also a need for more things to happen locally. People like Susan in San Francisco, who gets people together, shares what is Servas, kind of strategically invites and welcomes and keeps in touch with people. That's at the core of Servas, is community. And at a local level, that's super important. And I don't see Mary Jane on this call, but this would be her voice. Okay. Local is important. And the other thing we're building on in that way is we're organizing regionally, at least for interviews and for bringing new people in. We have a whole new system. And I'm going to be so thankful to Joanne, Shyla. I don't know if Jana's here. I don't know if Teresa's here on the call. We have a whole new way that we're kind of operating. It's not just, oh, you go on the website, find an interviewer, and then navigate through this difficult process. We're going to take care of you. Our regional folks are going to take care of you. And they're going to make sure you have an interview and that you know that your interviewer can help you with what you need, and stays, so we all stay in touch. And I think that's the most exciting thing about our future, is I think we're setting things up in such a way that we're going to be much more connected. And truly the challenges are still here with travel, with the pandemic, with visiting in person. But please, touch in and see what kind of events Servas has. Joanne, can you give a little, preview of coming attractions, even by way of what we're doing digitally or, kind of remotely, Servas wise?
Yeah, so Renee Riley, who isn't here with us today, but she lives in Hawaii, started out with suggesting, why don't we have a book club or a book discussion? And so we've had several book discussions over the past months. I think our first program was October of 2021. She suggested that at the last annual meeting, and I think Chris-Ann, our chair at the time, was like, yeah, would you do that? So she started doing book discussions. We did some other programs. She's got a new family experiences program that's coming up. It's on our website. If you look under events, you'll see there's a new family experiences program coming up. It's a woman that she met in one of her book club discussions who has been doing a lot of genealogical research on her family, which includes both Black and white ancestors. And so she's going to present some of her information. And I can't give you the date off of the top of my head, but if you just go to our website and look at what's happening, you'll see announcements and then events. And it's going to be one of those. And she's planning something for December with one of our members, Nelson Palmer, who grew up in an Italian family. So he's going to share some of his traditions. And then I think she's got another thing planned for January. So, come and join us. I know it's been great. People have been getting out, and now we're probably going to be shutting up again a little bit more. So if you're looking for something to do and you want to join with other Servas like-minded people, we invite you to attend.
Thanks, Joanne. And your key is the calendar on the new website. We're going to be keeping that up to date, and you should be able to check in. I also want to thank Paige at this moment, because as far as what's coming up with both Paige and Tess, as far as the youth group, we're really looking forward to some vibrancy. Paige, Tess, you want to speak to what's happening with young people this upcoming?
Tess, are you here? Well, I know Tess is going to be giving and I'll be with Tess. We both co-chair the Youth Initiatives Committee, which has designed the t-shirts that you see at the conference today. And we're really excited because we were having events now twice a year, one for International Day of Peace and also in February for Social Justice Day. And so I invite you to those events. They're virtual at the moment, but we hope to have some in person or hybrid. And then we also have, we did a pilot program a couple of years ago that we're reinstituting, but that is Servas Experiences, where you take tours in your own city and you invite other Servas friends and you kind of share history and a meal together in your local communities. So that's called Servas Experiences, which you can come to learn more about that tomorrow. And then I just want to recognize, you haven't mentioned David Hills, but David Hills, do you mind coming up? He's been such a source of help. Can you come up for a minute? I just want him to introduce some people who are on here. Can you introduce the member help team? Because they've been really more than helping. They've been especially amazing for our technology in helping you members to get your e-letters. And here, can you tell a little bit about what you do? Oh.
Thank you. Thank you.
We couldn't hear any of that said. We couldn't hear what was just said by that person.
So Joanne Swovelin just mentioned how much we enjoyed talking to each other and helping each other out on fixing various problems on our website. So I just want to take a minute and thank the people of the member help team. Many of you have already met us. In February, we had to finish the transition to a volunteer organization. It was unfortunate, but we did have to lay off the last two members of the paid staff. And then it was up to us to figure out how all the gears and levers of the old Servas website and the servas.org worked so that we could keep people's registrations and memberships flowing. With the help of Phyllis Chin, who spoke here today, Joanne Ferguson Kavanaugh, Carol Tribble, who I see are on the meeting, Teresa Crockett, Tess Hills, and Doreen Lease, who actually used to work in the office and was an invaluable source of help. All of these people have spent many hours helping renew your registrations and coordinating the websites, US Servas and servas.org. And it's thanks to them that the propellers of US Servas have kept turning through this transition. And we hope with the website and what we're seeing, I'll just mention that we're seeing an astonishing increase in application from new members. I don't have the exact numbers, but I want to say in the week and a half since our website launched, I want to say we've probably had about 20 applications for new membership. And I think we've encouraged a few others just here at the conference to join us. So we're looking forward to, we thank the people that have helped us get this far, and we're looking forward to having more volunteers to help us keep things moving at Servas.
David, if you could, our superhero Will Zell isn't with us. Can most of you hear me? Will Zell has been kind of at the forefront of helping us develop a new website. And thanks to Will, who I can't, give enough kudos to all that he's been through, and also David and Dan and Jim and the other folks that have, and Carol especially, who have all been, and Kay, I don't know if you're here, that have really been pivotal in keeping us, moving with getting a new website. It's not been an easy path. And we're so pleased that we're now at a place where we can jump in and say, yeah, this really works, but maybe this little thing doesn't work. So it's really, when I talked about volunteer heroes, I don't want to miss anyone because we have so many of you out there. And it's really hard I haven't introduced everybody with names, but you know who you are. And a big,
Marguerite,
huge kudos to all volunteers.
I do want to say just for the people that are here to recognize, we have Yossi McIntyre right here. If you could raise your hand. Yossi is our United States Peace Secretary. Fantastic, amazing, would help anyone if you ever need it for anything. Thank you. And also I want to recognize Jean Devine, who's here working with our United Nations representatives in New York. Awesome, amazing work that she's doing, which you can hear more about in our UN presentation. And that's where I'm at. And thank you again, our member help team. If you could just raise your hand if you're online, our member help team. If everyone here could give them a big hand, they're really, really doing amazing work. Thank you so much to our member help team. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, like I say, and huge thanks along with that Paige to our volunteers in general. Every single person that's been volunteering this year has gotten us to where we are.
Well, thank you, everyone. Big hand. Thank you. All right. So thank you very much, Marguerite.
One last thing, I'm going to just kind of tease everyone. We are really lucky to have, at least with Richard Weaver, and of course with Shyla and the experience they bring to the board, we are going to be also looking at who we are. Who are we as Servas, a peace and justice organization? You know, what are our messages to our future members? And Richard brings marketing experience, which is a real blessing for us. And Shyla brings experience with all things, you know, connecting people. And then we have a lot of really great board members who have been in the mix for the year. So I welcome you to know that you actually have a way that you can join the conversation. And Richard right now has a group that he's meeting with, and we're really trying to be strategic. We're trying to figure out how we're going to grow Servas and make Servas meaningful and relevant to the future. So Richard, huge thanks. You have anything to say? You want to add to that, Richard?
I'm excited about the group that we have that's meeting regularly, and we're making some progress. We're about ready to go out and do surveys of different age groups, trying to understand why they travel and how that might better combine with what Servas has to offer. Thank you.
And you can join the conversation. Once again, any questions, any contact you want to make after this, info@usservas.org. Anytime, and it'll get to somebody who cares.
And Marguerite, if I could just say one more thing, that about the nominations, that we do need a list of names for if you're interested in volunteering for our nominations committee, and that's for online too. And Marguerite, if you could just
I'll kind of introduce the nominations process. We actually have a chair of our nominations committee who's been involved for at least a couple of years, which is wonderful. The nominations process, and Joanne could, I'm sure, talk more about the process, but I will just tell you that Servas and its future is very dependent on leadership, and leadership being not only board members, but committee chairs, working group leaders, you know, worker bees. All these kinds of things are so important to our future that we are hoping that our nominations committee is going to be able to find you out there that know Servas and have been involved at some level, whether it's a working group or a committee. So if you feel you're pretty well connected with Servas, we welcome you to the nominations committee. And we're going to be having that process of figuring out who's on that group over the next few months. So please put in your name if you would like to contribute.
Marguerite thanked all the volunteers. She didn't mention that I think she's been working 48 hours a day for Servas for a while. So we all owe her a big thanks. I'm not quite sure how she does it, but she seems to manage.
Thank you.
Let's give Marguerite a hand. Thank you, Marguerite.
Thanks, all.
So
Just like you, I really care about Servas.
we do have a general question that's come up in the chat. It's Diane. She's just wondering if there's been any discussion or exploration in how U.S. Servas can connect with incoming refugees, especially the Afghani refugees coming in. Is there any discussion going on in that, or any group looking at that?
Is Peace and Justice able to handle that one?
Yes, we did have an inquiry about that, and we contacted a group in Jacksonville, Florida. But and we were trying to get a feel from them of what we could do. And then the latest information was that they were well covered and did not need assistance from a small organization like ours.
There's also a small group that started a grassroots movement in Los Angeles called Mary's List, where you can go on and help one family at a time. But Mary's List is another partner that we're starting to partner with.
Thank you.
Yeah, Diane says thank you.
Any other questions, Shyla, or shall we wrap her up?
That is all that has come into the chat.
Well, thank you so much for being able to join us today for our first ever dual annual meeting. It's been wonderful to be able to have, not only all the conference attendees. Thanks all you folks at the conference. We're with you. We wish we could be there. And a special, if Mary hasn't gotten appreciation, every single person give her a big hug. Because we're so grateful to all that, has been going on, all that's been put into the conference.
And we're just gonna pan so you can see who's here.
Oh, we appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'll turn the light on so we can really see everybody real quick on say our goodbyes.
And then Paige, I had one question. We do have Cecilia on the phone. Wasn't there something for her mom happening?
Yes. So in the back, we've created a memorial for Cecilia Wash's mother, Betty Wash, who would have been 100. She was a longtime member from Seattle. So in the back, we have some historical documents. She kept all of the Servas International newsletters and the U.S. Open Doors letters and a bunch of other memorabilia in the back. So we just wanted to honor her longtime service to Servas.
So just before we get off, could you just unmute Cecilia? And so Cecilia, if you're able to unmute.
Yeah.
So your mom, if you could just tell us, so your mom was a member for?
She joined when surprisingly, because she got signed up without knowing that, and suddenly we had a guest in our house, which she just made more room for him. She was the regional coordinator, U.S. Servas coordinator for the Pacific Northwest for about 30 years, something like that, and did a lot of traveling and hosting, and yeah. So I thought I would try to fill in her shoes when she passed away, but I realized very quickly that wasn't going to happen.
Big shoes.
Big shoes. Yeah, big heart, big shoes. Yeah, it's an honor. I really appreciate the recognition that Paige facilitated.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
And thank you for being on this call, Cecilia.
Yeah, good to catch up on things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Paige.
All right, Paige, if you want to kind of wrap her up, we sure appreciate everybody being on the call again, and have a really good one, and we'll see you at the conference next
Everyone
week.
on virtual, if you're able to stay here just a second, we'll do one more group photo. So if you have your video off, go ahead and turn your video on, and we'll just do a group photo here for the virtuals. Paige, if you and Leena want to turn, because we can see you in your square. So if you guys want to turn for the photo, and then we will do this. So thank you everyone who came virtually. Look at your cameras now, and we'll do 1, 2, 3. Great, thank you. We had 23 virtual attendees, so fantastic.
All righty, all the best, everybody. In peace.